This underwear is from an ex-girlfriend from years ago. I hadn't been in that drawer in 3 or 4 years. Get the bags. You gonna help me?
The first thing comes through my head. It's, why is this here?
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You already know what time it is. I don't know what time it is. I know go suffer. I not go beg for bread. A giggy. Anyway, listen, so I want to talk to you guys about Fernanda and Jonathan. Because I did already Ashley and Jay, but I want to talk about Fernanda and Jonathan. The first thing for me, which was really interesting watching them two, is the fact that they're 31 and she's 19. And one of the things that was made very, very clear is that the friend asked him,
get married when she young, wild, and free.
I don't know, Danny.
Does she have like a crazy ex-boyfriend?
Has she lived her life? Has she really explored her youth? And one of the fears of himself was that she hadn't explored her youth, and it was a fear of his own, which is like, I know she's young, I know she's beautiful, and she's fine. I mean, she really is a spicy Taco Bell. You know what I mean? But you know, he expressed himself the fear that, oh, she hasn't lived life to the fullest.
Past. So Fernanda jokes all the time that I've robbed her of her youth, and yeah, I got to experience a lot in my younger days. I enjoyed that bachelor life, being alone. So Fernanda's a little more skeptical that I'm ready to leave that behind me. The biggest fear that I have in these 90 days is if Fernanda would change her mind. That if one day she looked at me and she said, you know what? You've already lived your life. Sorry, like, I need to live mine.
And for me, that lets me know that already you're thinking ahead. And so sometimes, you know, you got to take a pause and a step. What does a 31-year-old have in common with a 19-year-old? You have to really think. Remember I said this about, I think I said this, which one was I saying this about? Ashley and Jay. I was saying the same thing. I was saying, look, when you're older and you're going for someone younger and there's a huge gap, you have to think to yourself, why? Why are the women in your age bracket not seeing you? Now, I know he said obviously he's working 12 to 14 hours a day. Not a problem. So obviously it's very hard to find somebody. But deep it, when you've got this girl now, how is she going to fit into your schedule? Because you're working 12, 14 hours a day. So the problem doesn't stop. So even though your first problem was that I didn't have time, you're still not going to have time to actually spend with that person. And these 90-day fiancé things, because it's 90 days, it's creating that holiday feeling, that euphoria, the euphoric feeling that people feel when they're on holiday, that relaxation. But when she gets into your actual schedule, are you going to be cool? That's the question we need to ask. Another thing is that he said obviously he felt like this girl, you know,
no one brings the best out of me like Fernanda does.
The best thing that would happen to him is change the way he thinks and feels, and I appreciate that. I mean, it's good to have that. And, you know, the fact that he speaks Spanish and she speaks Spanish is also a good thing because it means she can really express herself in the fullest manner that she wants to. Cool. But my main kind of thing which I really picked up on is the fact that obviously, man's been plowing money into this girl already. So he's not only emotionally invested, he's financially invested in this girl.
I helped her register for college. I've sent her money every couple weeks. I got her an apartment. I've got her a Jeep Wrangler that's sitting out in the driveway. I got her a pair of boobies that she wanted.
Like, this can't afford to fail because you've bought her boobs. Like, let's be real. Okay, aside the visa, you've bought her boobs. Okay, and it's funny that obviously he said, and this was I was a bit thrown aback. He made a joke about, you know, she said she wants to go into the shower, and he made a joke, yeah, we can take a shower together, like, and then she was like,
I want to take a shower now.
We can take one together. Sorry.
And for me, it was like, hold on a minute, why go on here, Gigi? Like, you two are meant to be a couple, and he bought you boobs, and I'm not saying he owns you, rather I'm saying that, so he bought you something which was that was, you know, your part of your body was tenderizing, you understand? And he makes a joke which is an innuendo, sexual kind of joke, and you screw him, and I'm like, it's all well here. It's all really well. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, it should have been a laughing moment, but it wasn't a laughing moment. She screwed at him, and he had to say sorry. And I'm like, why? Like, what does that really... And I'm trying to think, what's the deeper meaning here? Is that because the lights were off? It could have been. Maybe because the power was off. Maybe it could have been. But the first night, Nah, gee, someone doesn't feel right with me. Something doesn't feel right. Another thing is, his best friend, he said he hasn't said much to Fernanda about the best friend, and that concerns me. Because he's already said that Fernanda's kind of a jealous girl.
I haven't told Fernanda specifically anything about Danny, but because we're always single, Danny and I always, work near each other. But, Fernanda understands our friendship.
One, I never believe that girls are jealous on their own. They are jealous because a man has made them such. Whether that's him or whether that's a past ex, I don't know, because she was dating someone for 3 years. But I'm hearing that obviously she's a jealous ex, and I'm like, but bro, you move kind of mad. So, and you've not told Fernanda about your best friend that much, so that lets me know already you potentially could be hiding something, or potentially you could be using this scenario, Fernanda being jealous, and use that as a way to get an argument going. Because some people like toxicity. A reason why they like toxicity is because they like that feeling of the person craving them. Because toxicity is about the person, it's like the person craves you, the person wants you, desires you, but in the worst way. And some people take that as, oh, the person cares for me, do you get me? Or they want that because they want attention. When the person's raving after you, getting angry about you, for them it translates into the person cares about me. Do you know what I'm saying? Having an argument, I like an argument or two because that get that feistiness. You don't, trust me, you get older and become mature, you don't want
other women I've dated, she's not a yes woman. She's a fiery Latina. If she has an opinion, she's gonna tell you. It keeps the relationship interesting.
But he said that obviously she's kind of jealous, and then you haven't told her about your best friend. That just leaves a gap ready to burn, bro. That's gonna cause a problem, bro. Like, do you know what I'm saying? I'm just, something's not quite right there. Not only that, you had panties left over, which you said was old, but it was actually ex-girlfriend's, which is in a drawer.
This underwear is from an ex-girlfriend from years ago.
It wasn't looking good. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not looking good. How is it going to work between them two? Because she's not a yes person, as he said, and he himself doesn't like taking instructions.
I think it's definitely going to be an adjustment. I like not having anyone tell me what to do or do the dishes or, pick up your clothes. I love you.
She's 19, young, budding. That fire, that youthfulness, how is that going to work against your more mature approach where you don't like being told what to do? How's those two going to work together? You know what I'm saying? Already I've seen him apologize a few times, but I'm wondering how long will that last? Don't get twisted. At the moment, yes, he will start apologizing, but how long will that last before he flips the tables? Because he's not young. He's not a sucker. I can see in his eyes he's really not a sucker. This guy is the kind of guy that will play naive and turn the tables one day. And you'll be so surprised. Do you get what I'm saying? So I'm watching. I'm just thinking to myself, okay, you've apologized a few times already. Also, again, mention the fact that we have 3 months married. It's kind of weird. Like, I find it weird, obviously, but I know some people do find love early. But again, there's that holiday euphoria of going on a holiday, meeting someone, and getting gassed. I told you guys a little story when I was on with the Ashley and Jay situation. That when I was on holiday, I felt this euphoria of being on holiday, seeing a girl, and it gasses you. And guess what? They've met most of the time on holiday. The last time you went to Mexico for a few days and met again, and then proposed. And I'm like, yo, okay, cool, but bro, you met her on holiday premise. That means that you've not met her in your daily routine. Can it work in that routine? I know I repeat myself from earlier on, but can she fit in? Can you fit her in? Are you going to have time for that? You have to understand as well, when you're in your working schedule, stress comes in, your normal actual attitude comes in, you're less patient, you're less empathetic towards other person, all these factors play in, and suddenly the beautiful girl that you said that's so sexy, so intelligent, so lovely, change you for the better, can now become the enemy within the camp. Do you get me? And it won't just be her fault, it'll be your fault because you've not taken time to slow down. Do you get me? For me, I'm watchful over them. It's gonna be interesting to watch their development. Obviously the panty situation just threw me off. I was like, bro, we'll see. Adding the panty thing out, add it with the best friend you haven't told your girlfriend about. Ooh, the fact that obviously you two are the last two out of your group who are still single and you meet up and chat. Me personally, I just always watch those things with a close, careful eye. We'll see and see.
What, like, the exclusivity of Oswego and I?
We'll see and see. My next thing I want to talk about actually is also Kulani. Kalani, do you know what, I really want to talk about Kalani more because it really, like, when she said some things, it really drove me nuts. I mean, I always say this, listen, the information you present, I can only deal with the information you've given me. If you presented your boyfriend in a negative light, I'm going to give you evidence, I'm going to give you comments and advice on the negative information you've given me. I cannot see past the negative because that's all I see.
Things that went on, you kind of interpreted as him cheating, whereas
Interpreted or I was told.
You told me that's all you're getting. So when she told her sister that obviously that Asulu cheated on her, yeah, and you knew he didn't cheat on you, it had nothing to do with the fact that she was hurt. Because there was no need to tell your sister that lie. Do you get what I'm saying? There was no need to. My real understanding of that situation is that she was embarrassed. That's where the hurt came from. She was embarrassed at the fact that she had chosen this guy obviously who she told her family she's riding and dying for, and that she's gonna, no matter what they're saying, she wants to keep pushing this through. She's got pregnant by this guy. Do you know what I'm saying? She says she loves this guy, rare. On a break, admittedly, but then it's embarrassing because your dad don't like him and your sister don't like him. And then having to admit now, okay, look, on the break, he did sleep with someone and it did hurt me, but I can't really admit that because then I know already, even though we're on a break, you will take it that way. And it was interesting that she flipped the tables onto her sister when she started to admit that, oh, look, yeah,
But Kalini doesn't really approve of my relationship with Asuelu because I told her that Asuelu had cheated on me. I wasn't really honest with her in the beginning of our relationship. I didn't really tell her when him and I were like official or on or off. And during one of our off times, he ended up having sex with someone else. To me, it wasn't cheating, but my feelings were hurt. So I kind of played it up more than I needed to. Things that went on, you kind of interpreted as him cheating, whereas
Interpreted or I was told.
You know what? I haven't been totally honest. Okay, you start with I haven't been totally honest. Why is it when you start with I've not been totally honest, you flip the table to say it's someone else's fault? So she goes and says, oh, about the Asulu situation, basically, we were on a break kind of thing, and I didn't tell you the full truth. Basically you interpreted it as him cheating, and I was like, whoa, nobody interpreted anything. That's why the sister said, listen, you told me that, and I believe her because I deeped it that she had to say that I'm going to admit to you. Why would you need to admit to the person if you didn't say what you said? Do you get what I'm saying? There's nothing to admit, but you said it the way you said it. There was no room for interpretation. Do you get what I'm saying? So as the sister said, you told me he cheated. So what do you want me to do with that information? I can't do anything other than what you presented me. And for me, that showed me a very young, naive girl inside of Kalani. And the reason why I say that as well, if you picture the moment when she was sitting with her dad talking.
You know, I've been working my ass off for the last 30 years. You know, I'm not going to allow anybody just to come in and mess things up, like, with you or my grandson, man.
I know.
I just looked at her body language. Everything was, I'm a little kid, and I'm being told off by my dad all over again. I want my dad to approve, but I've done something wrong, and I've done something that my dad doesn't like. And I really wish you could back me, but I know you're not going to back me, and I'm just gonna give in. I'm just gonna, whatever you say, Dad. Yeah, I'm still gonna do what I'm gonna do, but I'm just not. I'm out. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm mentally checking out. And so when she was talking to her dad, it was quite interesting that her body language was she was just still, She's quite a big woman, not in a bad way. I think she holds herself very well. She's very graceful. I think she's a very beautiful girl. And, hey, you know me, I like curvy chicks. But, and everything was withdrawn. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like the withdrawal, like, when you go into fetal position, that's how I felt she was going into. And that's because, obviously, she craves her dad's approval, but she's not getting it. And it's interesting because the dad was banging on about how he doesn't want his daughter to marry anybody from back home because he knows how they are, and yet your daughter's gone off with somebody who you hated.
Provide for his family. My dad did have a very hard life, and I know he didn't want us to struggle the way that he did, so he wanted us with white guys, and he wants me to be with someone who can provide for us.
And this is the truth. Anything you begin to hate ends up being something else that somebody, let me put it this way. Anything you hate, right, you end up becoming. And if it's not you becoming, now your daughter's becoming. Do you get me? So the way you...
Well, you know how I feel about you being with my kind of people.
I know.
I don't like, it's just the way I was born and raised up. My biggest concern is he's only 23 years old.
You've presented the information about Simone now, bad, 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 bad. The same way in church, they always present the situation, sex is bad, sex is bad, sex is bad. And then someone tries sex and goes, sex is amazing. What are church talking about? Now they're conflicted. No, sex is good. You understand? It's just not meant to be done outside marriage. The same way, Samoan guys are good. There are a few people who are not good, but Samoan guys are good. The same way there's some UK guys who are good. There are USA guys who are good. There are men that are good. And when you present a picture of falsity, which is, and you tarnish everybody with the same brush, when your daughter then meets somebody who's not of that same brush, she assumes that he must be the exception to the rule. And therefore will give him all the chance in the world to prove he's the exception to the rule. Because she's been told negative the whole time.
In faith, you're taught that you don't have sex before you're married. But after my second visit to Samoa to see Asuelu, I felt like I found someone I loved, and I wanted to experience it with him.
Oh, wow.
So we did the deed.
Deep it. So when we're parents, guys, okay, let's just put it this way. When we're parents, do not say black boys, all black boys are this, all men are this. You know, this, that. Just, I mean, stereotypes. Don't stereotype every person as that way. Do you know what I'm saying? Be truthful, but don't stereotype. Because when you stereotype, what happens is when a person meets the opposite of the stereotype, they are likely to feel conflicted, and two, to continue it, because everybody wants to feel special, and everybody wants to feel like an exception to the rule. Like, oh, I know this doesn't work for you guys, but for me it worked. Everybody wants to feel that special route. You know what I'm saying? So it was interesting that her dad didn't like Samoan guys, and yet their daughter found a Samoan guy. And the amount of pressure that he's putting on, the way he was just talking at the, when you're scared of your dad, that whatever you say, he's gonna use it against you, or the fact that she's talking about her boyfriend, and the dad is just so anti it. And anti it based not on anything substantial, but the fact that he doesn't like Samoan guys, he's Samoan and half Samoan. It's annoying. And the fact is, he acts like he's American. They don't even accept you as American, bro. Like, they don't. That's why I said, listen, be careful how we tarnish people with a brush, because when you tarnish with that brush, people are tarnishing you with the same brush. You understand? It's mad than a dawn. It's going to be a very interesting thing as well, to kind of see the cultural differences between Kalani and Asuelu, because obviously he's grown up in a state where, as the dad said correctly, the pace is slower. You grew up on a farm.
He's coming from Ireland to the United States. It's a fast life here and it's a slow life there.
You're going to see the world completely differently. Can he mesh into your world, coming into a more faster pace, a world where maybe farming may not be the providing tool to pay for your family? There may be another way. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how he navigates that, and how them two get along. And this child obviously is very, very important. Again, a language barrier too. I don't know if she speaks Samoan or not. That could be an issue as well. It's just really interesting, because this is why I say condoms are important. If if they had been taught about maybe condoms early on, and it's been driven into their brain, they don't have a U. But because people want to enjoy freedom, now in a situation we've got a kid. And one thing I always say is that, especially even within Christianity, I'm like, listen, guys, having a kid, it's not bad. But when the person's not ready for the kid, you understand? When the person's not ready for the kid, we've got a problem, because it's a generational process of ripple effects. Your inadequacy will pass on to that child, and that child will pass on any inadequacies, plus his own, onto the next child. And it's a ripple effect. You see that when a child hasn't got their dad, you see the ripple effects of that behavior, and it affects the next generation and the next generation after that, because he or she has to recover from not having a dad, and then try to fill in the missing blanks. Hopefully fills it correctly. Do you know what I'm saying? So that is all stopped with a condom. You understand? Condom. Please, if you're gonna have sex, condom. Because if you're not ready for having a child, and the person's not ready for having a child, you're creating a mess. You're creating a mess. Do you know what I'm saying? The dad was saying something about, I worked my arse off, I worked my arse off. And there was such a focus on the fact that what he done.
I've been working my ass off for the last 30 years. You know, I'm not gonna allow anybody just to come in and mess things up, like, even with you or my grandson, man.
I know.
Like, the daughter was sitting, that's what I was trying to say, the daughter was sitting there, and it's like, she can't receive forgiveness. Because she's almost like she's broken what her dad, all the hard work her dad's done, the way he's talking as if she's broken or tarnished all the hard work he's done, undone everything. And for her, that's going to be working in her mind. And you know what I'm saying? And as a parent, we try not to, we gotta try and not to embed that into our children. Yes, we may not be happy with the decision they've made, but let's not embed that you can't be forgiven in my eyes, and the fact that you've gone so much against me, I don't know who you are anymore, and I don't like you. Obviously, there's certain things that happen which are crazy, but having a child, it's not one of the ones where we have to make the person feel like the world is absolutely over. We've got to be there to support. Unfortunately, that's our child. It is what it is, you know what I'm saying? For me, it's quite interesting to see where it's going. I think the dad and Kalani are going to have a very interesting relationship coming forth, and her sister as well, because Kalani is obviously like I don't want to say the ugly duckling, but it seems like the young one. Do you know what I'm saying? And she's done something that the family don't really like, and it's going to be interesting to see how the family recover and actually support her in this. I'm not going to lie to you, obviously, I don't know about this absolute guy, but when you make her bed, you gotta lie in it. You know what I mean? You're mad, you're lean. I pray that you guys enjoyed the review. Let's get it popping. Let's get it rolling. Guys, I appreciate you. Stay blessed. I get it.